Hey guys, I'm in Mombasa, Kenya. Today, it's kind of an exciting day. I have Professor Ezekiel Okemwa with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about what he does and the importance of that, and how it impacts Kenya and really maybe the world. He has won the Nobel Peace Prize. Professor Okemwa, where are you from?
I'm from Kisii, which is a county in Kenya, and at the moment I'm based in Mombasa. I'm a professor at Technical University of Mombasa.
Very nice. So now, Kisii is in the southwest side of Kenya, so we're kind of a long way away from there. Mombasa is a long way. It's on the southeast side of Kenya. And how many hours drive would it take me to get from Kisii to Mombasa?
It takes about 12 hours.
It's a long way.
Yeah. Okay.
So you teach here, and what's the topic? What do you teach?
My specialty is biological oceanography. I also teach marine sciences, and I teach aquaculture. Mariculture is my specialty, and at the moment I also grow fish at home.
Okay. And you won awards. Tell us a little bit about the big one. I when I first met you, I was very excited. Nobel Peace Prize. Tell us a little bit about that and when you won it, why you won it, what you were working on.
1990, I was head of delegation of Kenya to Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO. And the headquarters of IOC UNESCO is based in Paris, and I became the vice president of IOC UNESCO. And at that time, the former vice president of United States, Al Gore, he used to go to Caribbean Sea to swim, and he saw the corals were dying, and he felt there was something which was happening in the ocean. And that issue was brought to us in Paris under Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, and me, I was a vice president. I took it up with the delegates. We had 156 countries. Then we discussed, we formed what we call Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And we slotted people in different sectors, in fisheries, in forestry, in transport. And so it took us about 5 years working in those sectors, and we came up with the IPCC reports. And when the final video was made, then it was exposed to the people who judge who has done well in the world in terms of climate change. And that is how Al Gore was recognized. And I became one of the people who assisted as an activist, and I'm one of the Nobel Peace Prize winner on climate change.
That is. And what year was that? You said 2007?
2007. Yes.
2007.
Yes.
And so that's an honor, right?
Right.
So since then, what have you been doing to continue the same work you started that got you to 2007? What have you done since 2007?
Now, here in Kenya, I am teaching at the university. I'm a professor, and I teach climate change. And there is the issue about COP21, where countries under UNESCO, they agreed the year 2020, they have to give a report on climate mitigation. And I have an idea how all countries can have one format of reporting on climate, especially on the green gases. And this is very important because each country has its own methods. And the idea I have is about using drones And if you can use a drone, and a drone can be moved, can fly from Mombasa to Nairobi, Nairobi to Kisumu. And in the drone, we'll have sensors which will measure methane, carbon dioxide, and other green gases. And when that is done, that is a method which can be duplicated by many countries, and a drone can be moved within. It can be moved within a city or a country or a farm, and that method is accurate, and it can be duplicated in many countries.
So that's something you're working on now, and you're trying to get other countries, other cities, other counties or states to work on. So when we talk about climate change, right, there's a lot of people who debate this, isn't there? There's folks that say there is no climate change, and there's folks that say there is climate change. I assume you stand on the side of indeed there is climate change.
Correct. Yes.
What makes you say that? Because I think, I'll put it out there that there's climate change too.
Yeah.
What makes you, if someone said to you there's no climate change, what would you say to them?
One, we have to look at what the sequence in terms of temperature. Temperature has risen to 1.5 degrees Celsius in the last 10 years. That is for sure. And the other one is sea level rise. Ice from the north. When I say north, I mean Greenland and the north of Canada, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. There's a lot of glacier which is melting, and that also is making a sea level rise. And in some parts of the world, in the oceans, we have about 1 meter, which has made the sea to rise. The other one is a change of seasons. For example, here in Kenya, we have now wet season, and this is the time we expect to have drought. And yet, when we expected to have drought, this is the time we have floods. And even a local person, even an old woman, can tell you there is climate change by just observing the weather and the climate itself.
Okay. So it's kind of a, based on science here, it seems pretty obvious that we've got differences. So then what would you say to someone that said, well, this is just the normal Earth? How do we know that the Earth doesn't just do this? What would you say to someone who presented that to you?
It is not true, because here we have great scientists who are working. We have geologists who are working on soil, more particularly the bottom of the ocean. They have measured, and they can give you the changes in climate in terms of geology. Then we have the physics people, those who study physical oceanography. They can also tell you how climate has been influencing the area of physical oceanography. Then we have chemical oceanographers, those who measure chemistry of the water. For example, I can say carbon dioxide has been increased in the atmosphere. And when this has come to the ocean, there is what we call acidification of the ocean. And this has affected the corals. Most of the corals are bleached. And when they are bleached, it means there is climate change. They cannot be bleached without change in pH of the water, of the ocean water. And this is something which can be seen. The other one is in change of in the area of animals. For example, the sea, when we say it has risen, it means that many animals that used to breed and feed on the shallow waters, many of them have died because the sea has risen. And this is something which we have to see, that it is affecting when now we talk of blue economy.